It's time for another musical interlude. Let's get started. Talking with people with music in their genes, their blood, and in their soul. You are watching Musical Interlude. Welcome to another episode of Season 2 Musical Interlude. I'm your host, Casey Bell, and today's guest is Count Klassy. He talks about his journey in the music business. Let's get this show started. So, do you remember around the age you were when you first discovered music as a talent?
When I was a kid, I grew up playing piano and I loved to sing all the time. I was in musical theater. I did all the school plays, the choirs, and all that jazz. So I definitely was a melodic individual. And so I actually started getting into rapping about 2014 when like Young Money was super hot. You know, Nicki Minaj, Drake, you know, they were all pumping out singles. And then I started to just, you know, putting my own lyrics out there, putting my little black book of just lyrics and stuff that I like to enjoy to write about. And then a couple of years later, I hooked up with some producers and then we banged out my first album. So pretty much my whole life, I've been musical and I've been talented. Like I've always enjoyed creating melodies in my head and like whistling and all that kind of stuff. So it's just always around me.
And what gave you the courage to get with those producers? Because many people have aspirations, but they don't actually follow them. So what would you say caused you to do that?
Absolutely. I think it was kind of like being tired of following the routine, mundane 9 to 5 life. And I was like, there has to be something else that like is an opportunity for me. Like, why not? Why not still do my 9 to 5? I still hustle. I still make my money. But on the side, like, why not do this hobby, this craft, this art form that I love to do? So I'm pretty blessed that I'm able to juggle everything. And I'm also pretty blessed that I've been able to like create these networks through here in Toronto, you know, down on the West Coast in LA. So I've just been like very fortunate all around.
What was it like working with other musicians? I know you started out writing for other people. How did you get started doing that? And what was it like working with these people?
I started doing ghostwriting 2016. So I ended up getting some gigs through my auntie who lives in LA and is also a music manager. And she has a network of a lot of A-listers and celebrities and whatnot. So I ended up linking up with a couple of them, ghostwriting. And then through ghostwriting, not only like lyrically with labels, but I also did their social media and digital assets. So I was able to network through them and like find all these crazy, incredible, talented people. And like through Count Klassy, putting it in my little black book as like a future resource, right? And then ghostwriting through their accounts and learning and meeting new people. And then through there, that's when I found a producer that was willing to work with me through Count Klassy. I logged into my other account, hit him up, and I was like, hey, you were just talking to me on so-and-so. I run their accounts. Are you interested in doing something with me? So they were like, yeah, let's do it. And fortunate enough, he was here in Ontario in Canada. And we ended up linking up in Toronto. We pumped out a couple sessions and there came my first album.
Cool. So talk about Seven Deadly Sins.
Seven Deadly Sins is a biblical concept that is pretty much like what the demise would be for a society and the 7 sins that we should avoid. So as we all know, these 7 sins are heavily glorified through social media apps and they pretty much cater to anything that we want. So I was like, why not create a banger for each of them? So I ended up writing, I wrote Buy It All for Greed, 2K for Y for Pride, Missing No Meals for Gluttony, Envy for the Life, the Wrath. Wrath is for Man Number 2, and Lust was for Volcano. And so through that album as well, I got to hook up with Choclair, which is he's the first Canadian rapper to ever get signed to an American label. And he was totally willing to like work with an up and coming artist like myself. I told him who I was. I was like, I'm a ghostwriter. I'm a new artist coming out of Toronto. You know, I'm queer as well. which is like a super big thing you got to kind of drop before you go into like working with these artists. And I'm also the nephew of Tone Loc. And he's like, yo, word, that's awesome. Like, send me a track. So I sent him the track to Good Vibes, which is based off of Sloth, the Sin of Sloth. And he was like, I want to get on it. It's hot. So within a couple weeks, he recorded his vocals and sent it right back. And I also have Shiloh. He's another artist from LA. Currently now lives in Kansas City, reps Kansas City hard. And he featured with me on the track Missing No Meals, which is like a super avant-garde, funny, like it's like a stupid track, but like a brilliant track at the same time. I thoroughly enjoy Missing No Meals. I enjoyed producing it and recording it. It's super silly, and I think, you know, anyone who really listens to it is kind of confused at first, and then they listen to it a second time, they're like, all right, this is actually kind of banging.
So in the email you sent, you talked about the single Dreams. What was the inspiration behind you producing that single?
So Dreams is a cover of the Fleetwood Mac classic. And at the time, it was like a super viral hit. And I actually wanted to work on that track previously to when it like blew up with like the ocean spray, you know, viral meme of the guy skateboarding, drinking the ocean spray, right? And I was working with Cisco Kennedy, who was a Billboard producer, and he sent me the track like a year before this even blew up. Then I was in love with the track. It blew up everywhere, and I was like, this is a sign. I need to get my ass into the studio and do this cover. And Dreams also is very inspirational to me because it is my dad's first album that he ever bought. So it's like hanging up in his like room, you know, the vinyl record, and Dreams is on that album. It's on Rumors from Fleetwood Mac. So I wanted to do a cover justice, and I wanted to, you know, being a cover artist as well is a lot of pressure, because a lot of people will just be negative about you straight off the bat, because they're just like, they're a purist. They don't want to hear covers of their, you know, classic songs. So I went into it with the mindset that I don't want to make it better by any means. I just want to make it different. And hopefully I made, you know, Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks justice in the cover.
Awesome. So as a artist, there are many ways to express yourself, but the main thing artists do, no matter what genre they in, is they go out to bars and clubs and theaters and art centers and art galleries and, you know, expositions and festivals, and that's their main way of working. But unfortunately, every artist in the whole entire world, not just America, but in the whole entire world, has had to rethink until things get back to the way they were. They have to rethink on how they are going to produce our art. So what have you been doing to rethink art as a whole?
Absolutely. This is like the hot topic of, you know, last year, this year with the pandemic. Every single person had to pivot their plan. Like even myself, I had an album launch that was ready to go in Adelaide Hall in downtown Toronto in support of Sick Kids Hospital. So it was a big, big thing. Media was going to be there. We were going to donate $10,000 to the hospital. And then COVID hit, and then everything froze. I couldn't sign any contracts. I couldn't do nothing. We were stuck at home, you know, told to stay at home, do not go out except for essential services. A year later, we're still pretty much stuck at home under lockdown here in Toronto. And everything now has become virtual. So definitely hitting up a lot more podcasts, you know, getting out there, but with the exposure that way, doing live shows, Facebook shows, Instagram shows, you know, hooking up with other artists that you collaborated with, like doing live shows with them. And also like taking the time now to like develop new material, because you have the time. You know, we're all at home right now. And right now I'm taking that time to really curate what I want to talk about, my messaging in my second album, and not, you know, rush it out as, you know, as quick as I did on the first album. I want to just like let it marinate a little bit and see if I can like tweak it and edit it week after week. But I have the time to do that now. So making use of all your energy, time, resources that you're stuck at home, writing new material, getting virtual, getting live, and start, you know, now I have to comment a lot more on like people's, you know, social media posts, share a lot more things, get my name out there, right? Because otherwise people are not going to see me at festivals and shows and stuff like that. So now even if I have to write emojis on stupid posts all the time just so that they can see Count Klassy, Count Klassy, Count Klassy, that's what I have to do. My poor fingers, but you know, we'll get there, right? Until I can hire my own ghostwriter.
So my last question for you today is, it's a fun question, somewhat off the topic, but not really. And your answer does not have to be realistic. They can be a dead person, someone who's alive, someone well-known, or someone absolutely no one knows, but you know them. If there is a music producer or a singer or a musician or anyone in the music business, no matter their position, that you would like to collaborate with, if you could, who would that person be?
Okay, one individual that always comes to my mind, and I've said it many times, is Whitney Houston. I think that she embodies, you know, besides the whole Bobby Brown scandal era, her artistry embodied such like regalness and poise, and she had a beautiful, beautiful voice. So I would love to have worked with Whitney on any track, just to have her on a hook and I can come in on a rap or just like something like that. But you know, she did pass 2011, 2012, and we can't do that anymore. But I would love to have, you know, Whitney there, get someone like Smokey Robinson to kind of produce it, maybe Lionel Richie, you know, some OGs in the industry, Babyface, like anyone really. Like I'm open to anyone at this point, but Whitney Houston for sure. She's an angelic energy and totally inspires my artistry. So remembering what you had, oh, and what you lost, when the rain washes you clean, you know. So I'm calling on my witches. Got feelings and feelings with no glitches. Sabrina, Kiki, the witch, the boss, the green face chick. And go in it from my house. Yeah, we mesmerizing, yeah, we crystallizing. Yeah, we the fresh shinies on the new horizon. And you came into my life, the Lord and the soul. I know you want me, but honey, didn't you see how it ends? With the loneliness, like a heartbeat drives tonight. And the stillness of remembering what you had. Oh, and what you lost.
Well, that is all the time we have for you today on Musical Interlude. I want to thank our guest, Count Klassy, for taking the time to stop on by and sharing his journey. And for you, the audience, as always, thank you so much for taking the time to view. Have yourself a wonderful day.